And welcome to the South St. Paul School Board meeting, Monday, September 28th, 2020. Lisa, would you take the roll, please?
Inspector Bjorklund. Here. Inspector Walker.
Here.
Inspector Lalaberty.
Here.
Inspector Arndt.
Here.
Inspector Felton.
Here.
Inspector Diaz.
Here.
Chair McClellan.
Here.
7 present at 7:16.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm looking for an approval for the meeting agenda minutes, the school board meeting agenda, September 28th, 2020, Committee of the Whole minutes, September 14th, 2020, and school board meeting minutes, September 14th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. There is no public listening session tonight, and that leads us to school updates. Dr. Webb, would you introduce our guests?
I sure will, and as we have a couple of principals online tonight and a couple of principals here in person, I would just like to open with a huge thank you to our South St. Paul staff. We have over 500 staff. We're one of the largest employers in the community, and I've never seen a summer, and I never hope for another summer like we've just had, but I've never seen a summer where our staff worked harder to get ready for kids coming back than this school year. From our custodians to our teachers to our school leaders that are going to present tonight, everybody rolled up their sleeves, and today was the first day where we had students from every grade level in South St. Paul back in school, K-12. So tomorrow we'll have another third of our day 2 students returning in 7 through 12 and really K-12. So we're trying to support the needs of all families, all learners, but it's a huge credit to the group that I'm also going to introduce tonight. We have Mike Fugazi from Lincoln Center, and he's going to lead us off. Then Terry Britoy will follow him from Kaposia, our new middle school principal, Leah Borg, and then batting cleanup will be Chuck Ochaki, our high school principal. So Mike, we'll kick it off to you.
Good evening. I don't know if you can kind of see me. So I'm in the home office, which I don't get to use very much anymore, which is actually something in and of itself to celebrate. So we were asked to share just 3 things we were excited about to the start of the school year. And so number 1 is going to be of no surprise. We're just thrilled to be back with kids. And that's been super special. I'll tell one embarrassing story on that one. So we had kids come for hybrid tours a couple weeks ago, and then we had the distance learners come to pick up items. And over the last 6 months, I thought I was ready for that. And the kids came in at 9, that first group on that Thursday, and tried to start up in the 5th grade wing and work my way to every room to say hi. And I got right to that threshold of the first room, and I just lost it. And then I stepped out, so no one saw that. And then I tried to get my composure. I went back in, and then I started to lose it in the classroom and had to step out right away. So the kids maybe just thought I had a tickle in my throat, but they didn't need to see me cry. And so that was half the excitement, and just that we were here finally again after what felt like forever, but was 6 very long months. And then the other half of that was just like how much I missed the kids, and just even seeing their eyes with the face coverings. It just, after a really, really hard stretch, that was what people needed to see and experience to really find a way to keep carrying the weight. So that was number 1. Number 2 was staff. And so we were able to communicate a lot through Google Meets, just like this, for months and months. And was still able to see avatars and people for a couple hours a week, even into the summer. And then just being back in the building, as different as that is, it's just the magic at Lincoln Center, and this is my 7th year there, is that they always find a way to get it done. Like people take care of each other. And we try not to abuse that or take that for granted, but just the magic of that group being able to always find a way. And so, the second shot in the arm to get going this year was definitely just being in the same space as staff and getting them to see them do the things that they do, and to be back with those people. And then the third thing I would highlight at the start is just similar lines across the district and just seeing the innovation. And so what can be really hard as a leader in situations like this is your hope is always to help lift other people up and put them into position to do their best work. And through a lot of this process, all the things that we're used to having for strategies went away. You couldn't have a one-on-one conversation shoulder to shoulder with somebody. You weren't even in the same town a lot of the time. And it's just not as relational and hands-on as I think we're used to. And so as we started back, just seeing how teams came together and found ways to get stuff done, to be able to focus on the kids and learning, while other people in the building like myself were hoping to provide a level of management so that they could focus on that, where dots are going to go outside of bathrooms, or how we're going to do a fire drill, right? So teachers can worry about relationships in reading and math. And so even in just the first 4 weeks between the distance learning and the hybrid learning, just can't say enough about the stuff teachers have figured out to do, and would just wrap it up with recognizing that and how these jobs today are harder than they were a year ago. And so being a distance learning teacher, a hybrid teacher, as any sort of staff in a school building right now, it's like starting a brand new school in a brand new district with a brand new everything all at once. And people have been able to rise to the occasion, but I think it's important for us to recognize that in order to do that, that workload, that stress, that weight is immense. And people do a pretty good job of looking like that's okay during the day, but we all know how hard that is and how important it is to find ways to manage that and take care of each other. So it's really all the kids and staff right now, and just being able to have that back and seeing people do well is just that's what's made it, considering it's 2020, a successful start to the school year.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for a successful opening at Lincoln Center. Next up, we'll hear 3 welcome back points from Terry Bretoy, our principal at Kaposia Education Center. Terry?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Great. I'm trying on some new headphones. So first of all, I have this vision of Mike tearing up outside a classroom and a first grader just coming up and checking on him, basically. And I just want to give him a big old virtual hug to Mike. But everything Mike said, and just a couple more points. I mean, when you think about it, we're running kind of 3 different schools within a school in the elementary. We have about 200 plus kids who come in on Monday, Thursdays, and then a whole nother cohort of kids comes in on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then distance learning, which is the largest group we have. It's like 3 schools within a school. And I know that there was a lot of anxiety to start the year and a lot of questions. But the best moment was that last Monday morning, when kids arrived, and arrival and dismissal and hallways and everything in between has been incredibly calm, and also surreal. I miss hearing kids in the hallway in the start of the day, or at any time during the day after lunch. So it's been a very calm and I think a safe start that we're going to continue. But we miss that boisterousness of kids, I guess, and hearing them in the hallway. You know, every safety and learning protocol has to be relearned. And I'm incredibly proud of staff who continues to problem solve with us, to figure out how we can best connect with kids and how we can provide the best learning environment for them, whether they're here 2 days a week or whether they're home 5 days a week. So incredibly proud. I know people have wondered about masks with kids, and I know that was a big worry. We haven't had any issues with kids wearing masks. They actually kind of like them. They are little superheroes. They do bother them, and they might fall past their nose, but we just give them a little mask up, buddy, and they return their mask to the proper position. relationships basically is what I've seen from staff and kids, and that even though we have 230 plus distance learners, I had a distance learning teacher say to me the other day, you know what, I'm really getting to know my kids, even though I'm a distance learning teacher. It's hard, but I feel that I got better at it over the spring. And that it just takes a lot of Google Meets. It takes a lot of hand holding, a lot of phone calls, but it's worth it. And she feels like she's really getting to know her kids. Can I share one more funny Google Meet story that I have? And it came from an EL teacher, because we get all these hilarious Google Meet stories. Teachers have the same Google Meet address basically that they use. And I remember the first board meeting that we had when we were going virtual. And if you can remember with me how difficult that was for all the adults in the room, 5 and 6 year olds, believe it or not, take some time to figure that stuff out too. And EL teacher said to me that she had a bunch of third graders online and she was problem solving left and right. And, kids get up and they might use the bathroom or they go get a snack from the fridge. So all of those behaviors have to be retaught. And as she's conducting this third grade lesson, fifth grader pops onto the meeting and says, "Am I late?" And the teacher says, "Yeah, you're a day early and 5 hours late, but it's great to see you. Why don't you join us?" So it's just, it's heartwarming to see the measures that staff are taking to reach out and connect with their kids in any possible way. So really proud of the work that we've done, that they've done. And oddly enough, today was like Group 1's third day in hybrid learning. So it's going to take some time, but we are problem solving like crazy, and continuing to build relationships with kids and families. So lots of good stuff you guys report.
Thanks, Terry, for all that
Well,
you're doing.
Dr. Webb, we'll ask questions at the end.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
And so we'll roll through and then just jot your questions down and we'll come right back. Leah Borg is our new middle school principal, new to South St. Paul this year, has a wealth of previous leadership experience. Some of the gifts that she brings is she has experience at all 3 levels educationally. So she has been in administration at a K-8 school, so knows many of those elementary successful structures. Has taught at the high school level. In addition, was an IB teacher at the EMID school. What was the former name of the EMID school?
When it was Crosswinds.
Crosswinds, okay. So, just comes with a wealth of experience, and she's done a nice job just transitioning with our team and opening up the middle school this fall. So welcome, Leah.
Thank you. Middle school has always been my favorite, and I was glad to get the 6th graders in a week before everyone else. When you can have the 6th graders come in, you can really focus on teaching them the rules, the routines, the expectations, sort of set that tone for their entire time in the secondary building. And I was really proud of the work that the 6th grade teachers did to get those students ready. This morning, I heard a 6th grade sister say to a 7th grade brother, "No, that's not how we do it." And he was like, and I happened to be like, "No, Annie's right." And so she was just beaming, that she got to tell big brother how it really was. But I think that it's just really important to make sure that those 6th graders understand and feel that they are loved and feel that they have a relationship with their teachers, so that they don't balk against the systems and the expectations that we put into place. And so that was the first thing that I was really proud of as we opened the school year. The next thing that I was really proud of was the grade level teacher teams. They did a great job of standardizing what could be standardized through distance learning and in hybrid. An example of this is giving common naming conventions in your Schoology folder, so that when your students log into Schoology, they see the same type of thing in every class that they're in. The students appreciate that when they know that they can, every teacher works from top to bottom instead of bottom to top, which is actually Schoology naturally loads from bottom to top, and I don't know why. But, you know, just some of those, like flip things so that they make sense for all the students, and that same naming convention is happening throughout. Students know what to expect when they're in the classrooms because the teachers have been working together and planning. Teachers have been volunteering to work together across the grade level teams so that there's the same sort of expectations about an afternoon stack. There's the same sort of expectations around using the restrooms and how that's different than using the restrooms when it's not a pandemic. So students feel confident that they understand the rules and they're more likely to follow them because they know them. And then I'm also really proud of the PBIS team. I met with them for the first time last week. They started by explaining to me the work that they've done over the years. They explained, you know, the training that they've had and the things they've put into place. And then they were really vulnerable and they opened up about, like, this is the work that we sort of lost ground on, and this is the goal that we have for this year and how we want to move forward with our PBIS expectations and really celebrating students' successes across the board. And so I feel like that was a really good, that team that's starting the school year that has goals, it felt really good.
Leah, just remind the community what a PBIS team might be too.
Sure. The PBIS is the Positive Behavior Intervention System, and so this is a proactive system to make sure that students understand the rules and expectations, and then also if students don't follow through with what they're supposed to do, how do we respond to them in a positive way to help them understand and then do better next time.
Yeah, so again, Leah came to us with years of great leadership training and experience in PBIS, so
I
thank
sure did.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah.
And batting cleanup is Mr. Ochaki. And just a reminder for the community, Mr. Ochaki is now the 9th through 12th grade principal. And so we were able to bring in Leah 6-8, and Chuck will take 9-12 this year. And have a reasonable number of students, and the exact same number of students that I had as a high school principal before becoming a superintendent. So, Chuck, off to you.
Yeah, thank you. So, good evening, school board, guests, greater school community. First thing I should tell you is I don't play baseball, so batting cleanup I think is good. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, right? So the motto of the high school staff this year is flexibility, patience, and a whole lot of grace. Flexibility, patience, and a whole lot of grace. So it's 2020, and in case you didn't know, that's what you say when something bad happens. Ah, that's so 2020, right? That's what the kids are saying. At least that's what I heard in the hallway today, because we had kids. So the 2020 start of the school year was really different. You know, we started in distance learning, and it's important to know that the structure we're using in distance learning this year was completely different than what we used last year, last spring. So we made huge improvements to the distance learning structure, and those incredible changes actually came from the work of 20 staff members who volunteered their time all summer to rebuild our distance learning structure for our kids. And so I'm super proud of the work that they've done, because it is the backbone to everything that we're doing this year. So if we do go back to strictly distance learning, we won't actually miss a step, and our kids won't miss a step. They will be with us. But today was awesome, right? And it's kind of funny that both Leah and I would choose to come in here today, as today was the first day with kids, right? And we're craving all of this, seeing people, other people than each other. And so today's the first day in the building, and the two comments I heard over and over as I was talking with kids, talking with staff, like, hey, how did it feel? And two words: awesome. Weird, right, were the two words that I heard over and over. This is awesome and this is weird. This is awesome because we took a huge steps towards being normal. Like, this made us all feel good, like we're taking these steps towards normalcy. It's weird because it's different being in a class of 10 or 15. Like, that's really weird for our students when they're used to being in classes much larger. That individual attention, so I feel sorry for my 5 Connections kids, right? Because they got all of me today. That's really a different vibe for our kids. And so it was, they said that was really weird. The hallways aren't crowded. it's amazing what happens when you're missing a portion of your kids. But the hallways weren't crowded, so that was really weird. And walking into the lunchroom with about a third of the number of kids that normally sit in there was what our kids said was the strangest. Like, it was not like a lunchroom that you would normally picture in a high school. It was really quiet and subdued. So weird but awesome.
Can you paint that picture for 5 seconds about what the cafeteria actually looks like right now?
Yeah, so normally we sit about 250 kids in the cafeteria, and today all of our lunches at the high school level were under 100 kids. We sit at round tables, and they have these plexiglass barriers that break up the round table, so now you're sitting in a group of 4. And it was really, I actually sat down with some of our kids, right, kind of like what you have right there. Community, if you can see what the school board has, right? And it was really weird for the kids to be kind of talking with that, right? Because at some point they would be like, this is uncomfortable. And they'd go around, right? And, if you go around, you got to put the mask back on. But that was really different, so.
What was the sound?
Like, I didn't know sometimes, right? So I should say, I walked into the cafeteria during 7th grade lunch. It was really embarrassing for my own son, right, because there I was. But I had no idea that lunch was going on when I walked in, right? 7th grade lunch, and I walked in, and it was like, man, it is so quiet, because we also have them at round tables where they're talking with each other, not at these big, long tables. So it's important to know that the start of the school year was excellent because of the planning for the start of the school year began last May and June. Because of all the hard work completed by many different staff members, we had a smooth start to the year, and we were able to bring students into the building today. And I truly believe if it wasn't for all the hours that our staff put in, we wouldn't have students in there today. Now, I know one of the questions you're going to ask me, Chuck, are our structures and systems perfect? And I'm going to say no. They're not perfect right now, right? But they're much better than what we had in March. And something that the staff has heard me say continuously is we are going to pause, evaluate, correct, and adjust. Just about every 2 weeks, we're going to pause and really look at what are we doing, what's working, and what's not working, because let's not continue to do what's not working, right? Let's get rid of that and move into what's working. So we're going to pause, evaluate, correct, and adjust. So we'll be redefining the structures that we're using to educate our students for the 2021 school year. And this morning, I got a poem from a friend of mine, which was really kind of interesting, because this friend is a principal and knew that we were bringing students in for the first time, right? And bringing students in really raised everyone's kind of anxiety or anxiousness or whatever it is, right? I was like Nemo on the first day of school, right? If you don't know, right? Nemo is the fish, right? First day of school. That was me. Some of our staff were like, well, how's it going to be, right? So this friend of mine sent me this poem that said, hey, the school year is ideal for no one. Not for teachers, not for parents. Hybrid's not ideal. Virtual is not ideal. Face-to-face in the midst of a pandemic is not ideal. For every kid who is anxious to get back into the classroom, there's another who has anxiety about returning. For every parent who wonders, how am I going to manage this? There's a teacher wondering, how am I going to manage this? And often that person wears both titles. For every kindergarten parent who is sad that this is how their child will begin their education, there's a parent of a senior who is bummed that this is how their child's education will end. For every person angry about their child having to wear a mask, there's a person who's petrified their immune-compromised family member will get ill. Life has thrown us a huge curveball, a plot twist, if you will. It will not be easy. We will be challenged. We will get frustrated. I hope we rise to the occasion. I hope we help one another. We all will need the help. I hope we treat each other with grace. We all need grace. I hope we realize at the end of the day, our kids need us to be the light. Set the tone, see the good, take a really unfortunate situation and do our best to make it okay. For them, Most proud I am of the staff at South St. Paul because we have risen to the occasion. We have helped each other with grace because it is about our kids, and that's what I've seen all the way throughout. We've taken an ugly situation and we've come together the best that we can. And as a board, you should be proud of every staff member in South St. Paul. We're working together to improve our students' experience because it's about our students, and it's because of our staff that we have great schools. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Chuck.
guess questions, so.
Yeah, so we are going to open it up for board member questions, and I think our 2 elementary principals are still on the line, and we'll let you facilitate here, Jeff.
Who wants to start?
I've got a couple things.
Go ahead.
So to tag off of what Mr. Otake has said, I want to give a kudos to the teachers and kids, especially I'm a parent of a virtual learner, and the challenges that I've seen, and like you said, that the kids and the teachers have risen to. You know, there are some kids who are in daycare who are doing school in daycare, and they have all the kids screaming and running behind them and all the things that are happening, and they are trying to learn and responding well and doing all of this with grace. And then the teacher who has to see the 2-year-old pop up, you know, 2-year-old little brother pop up in the camera, and all of a sudden, you know, a third of her class all has to go to the bathroom at the same time. And I mean, I just think, like you said, Mr. Otake, that they're doing so well in such an awful time, and still learning, still getting laughter and joy, and to what Nikki had said before about finding those pieces of joy and in the learning. I just think it's amazing. So wanted to throw that out there. And then to Mr. Britoy, you didn't talk about the KECCO.
Well, I had heard someone give Eric a compliment that was the best video they saw this week, and I didn't want to argue with that. So that's okay. We'll keep improving. We'll keep the production value as high as we can.
So for those of you who don't know, KECCO is the virtual production. I think it's a production, right? It's a lot of work. Virtual
Like a news channel.
A news channel, yeah, for the Kaposia
Excellent.
families. And it's done really like in a movie style sort of thing, and how they introduce things, short, you know, quick clips of what's happening. And I think for me as a parent, it was just so engaging. I knew what was happening all around the school. And then they would throw in, they really made the virtual learner families feel like we were still a part of school. We weren't separate. We were still a part of that family. And they did, so I talked to Miss Wallace in the hockey parking lot, which is where a lot of my conversations happen. And Miss Wallace, who was one of the co-dreamers of KECCO, has a challenge for the board members to say, you know, if we ever want to be on their video channel, to let her know, and if we have a message. So just wanted to let you know that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Linda.
Wendy, you got, no? Chuck, I've just got to say I miss your emotion.
Yeah, you and my staff and my family, right? It's right there, it's on my sleeve.
Yep, yep. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll just add a word too. Like I've said in the past too, I can't even fathom what the staff and administration have gone through in these last several months. So there aren't enough words in my heart to say the gratitude and thanks and passion that you have shown for everyone, for all of our families, for our students, for each other. And we just have praise for everyone here in our district.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is so important, every position. So we thank everyone for what they're doing, and we look forward to improving everyone's health. Everyone, please stay safe, and don't be afraid to reach out to your administration, your coworkers, for any assistance that you may need or guidance, more information. So we just thank you truly from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you.
Last call.
Us?
I have one last thing. Just wanted to give a shout out to new school counselor Ann Price.
Oh, yeah?
She and I were grad school buddies
Oh.
back in the day. So welcome to South St. Paul, Ann.
Yeah, welcome, Ann, and you and I are going to talk tomorrow. We're going to get some dirt.
Right?
Thank you to all the principals. Thank you
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for giving up your evening.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, we'll move to the business section. The consent items. I'm looking for a motion to approve financial claims, bills payable, staffing appointments, resignations, transfers, retirements, abolishments, and leaves. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have no policy to review today, so we'll move on to our approval for our business items. I'm looking for an approval for the South St. Paul School Board to approve certifying the 2020 payable 2021 proposed property tax level to the maximum and declare Monday, December 14th, 2020 at 7:15 in the City Hall chambers. 120, I don't have to leave. The City Hall chambers. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Dr. Webb, do you want to?
I sure will. Our finance director, Aaron Bushberger, I believe, is still online.
Oh, okay.
And so he's going to give us a brief update about our property tax levy. Aaron, are you there?
I am, thank you, Dave and school board. We did have a PowerPoint prepared. I don't know if Lisa's that. Okay, see it on my screen. Okay, so just a brief, some brief information about our proposed levy that we're asking for your approval tonight. We did mention at the COW meeting that we have been working on this information August and into mid-September, where we've worked with the Department of Education on getting the levy information as accurate as we possibly could. We are before you tonight to ask for your approval of the proposed levy. This information is due on September 30th to the Department of Education as well as Dakota County. The county then uses this information to mail out proposed property tax statements in mid-November. And then as a part of the resolution or the agenda item that Chair McClellan just mentioned, we will come back and hold a public hearing on December 14th, at which point we will ask the board to approve the final levy. The next slide just has some brief information about your approval tonight. Again, that's due by September 30th. What we will ask you to do is approve the levy at the quote unquote maximum amount. And this is consistent with what we have done in previous years. And by doing this, this allows adjustments to be made between now and the final levy in December. And I will mention that a little bit later on here in the presentation regarding a potential reduction that we'll get into. And so we'll ask for your levy approval at the maximum. Regarding the levy change, as we mentioned at the Committee of the Whole meeting, we are projected to see a 5.4% increase in our proposed levy over the levy that we approved in the previous year in 2019, payable 2020. The next slide breaks down that 5.4% in 3 different categories. So you can see the first is equalization. I have another slide on that I'll talk about briefly, but you can see due to the lack of equalization for South St. Paul, we will see about a 2% increase in our overall levy from last year. That excess is a calculation that the Department of Education manages for us. That's increasing, causing an increase in our levy of 2.7%, and I'll briefly talk about that. And then all other components of our levy are increasing only by 0.8%. And so we're really trying to focus in on and trying to limit the levy increases as much as we can from the previous year. This next slide just talks a little bit more about equalization. I know that's been a topic we've talked about for many years with our community and with our board. Typically, we'll talk about referendum equalization and how it relates to our operating referendum. However, there's 9 other funding categories that we receive funding from the state of Minnesota where equalization comes into play. And I don't expect everyone to know all of these different funding categories, but The point really being is this equalization calculations that the state has really creates an impact in our funding in multiple different categories for our district. So generally speaking, on the next slide, equalization, as property values increase, the amount of funding shifts from the state to the local taxpayer. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean additional funding for South St. Paul schools. It just means that the funding shifts from one source to another. So you can see there the market value in South St. Paul when calculating our levy is increasing by over 10% from last year. And so that is causing a dramatic shift from state funding to the local property taxpayer. So on the chart below is a summary of all the different funding sources that I referenced. So you can see there that the state funding is decreasing by over $840,000 from last year. While in that same calculation, our local property taxes are increasing by over $200,000. So you can see what a significant shift that has caused in our overall funding. The next slide briefly references what's known as debt excess. And so just real brief, the district is required to levy 105% of our scheduled debt payments. And this ensures that we have enough funds on hand to make those debt payments. And so an excess builds up for our debt service based on that. So the Department of Education calculates what's known as a debt excess and changes the levy based on those calculations. And so oftentimes districts, including South St. Paul, will work with the Department of Education to adjust those numbers. And so our commitment to you is we will work over the course of the next 2 months with the Department of Education to see if we can reduce this levy even further. And so there will be more information to come, but at this point in time, the overall increase of 5.4% is what we're looking at from a proposed levy standpoint. We will try to continue to decrease that by the time we come back in December. So just to summarize, again, next steps, we'll ask for your approval tonight. Then I'll work to submit this information to MDE in Dakota County. Residents can expect to see their proposed property tax statements in the middle of November. And then we'll be back on December 14th to ask for your approval of the final levy. So this information was brought to the Finance Committee last week. It was also presented at the Committee of the Whole meeting, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Is there any further discussion? Thank you, Aaron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval for the South St. Paul School Board to approve the 5-year 2021 through 2025 self-insured dental insurance plan with Health Partners. Dr. Webb?
Yeah, and I think that Aaron's going to carry the water on this one too. Aaron, are you set for this, or do you want me to take it?
Nope, I can take it. Really.
Take it away.
Yep, as Kathy Miller, our Human Resources Director, mentioned at the Committee of the Whole meeting, we did go out for bid for our dental program. I'm just looking at one thing here. And so we work with Health Partners. Our proposal is to work with Health Partners over the course of the next 5 years. They will administer our self-insured dental plan for us. And so we saw really favorable administration rates from Health Partners. And so we are proposing to work with them again from 2021 through 2025, working with Health Partners to administer our program.
Thank you, Aaron. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Did I do that? I didn't do that already.
Nope.
Oh. Did I get a motion?
Yep.
And a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval for the South St. Paul School Board to approve the proposed 2021 dental insurance rates. Hang on a minute, Aaron. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Aaron, are you going to take this one too?
Absolutely, yes. And so as Kathy Miller, our Human Resources Director, mentioned at the Committee of the Whole, Part of planning for next year is approving our 2021 dental insurance rates. Again, we are under a self-insured program, and so we are, as board and administration, really in charge of setting those rates. And so based on our current financial condition, as well as projected costs into the future, we feel very comfortable proposing no changes in rates for the 2021 year. So that's what's before you, and we're asking for your approval tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval for the South St. Paul School Board to approve the two-year 2021-2022 basic life and AD&D, voluntary life and AD&D and LTD insurance plans with the standard. I have no idea what those acronyms stand for, Aaron, so. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Aaron, take it away.
Yes, and Kathy Miller mentioned this at Committee of the Whole as well. So we did go out for bid for these insurance programs. Again, really just to summarize, they are our life insurance programs as well as our long-term disability insurance programs. And so our proposal is that we maintain our relationship with the standard over the course of the next 2 years. Standard provided the most competitive package along with the most competitive rates. So that entire package we are proposing for you to approve tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the South St. Paul School Board to approve the 2020-2023 Teacher Growth, Development, and Evaluation Plan. And Dr. Schmidt will take this one.
Yes. Good evening, Chair McClellan, board members, Superintendent Webb, and community of South St. Paul. I'm Chad Schmidt, proud Director of Learning for South St. Paul Schools, and I'm here to seek your approval of the 2020 Teacher Growth, Development, and Evaluation Plan. This proposed plan is an extension of the previous two plans adopted in 2014 and 2017, respectively. It builds on what has worked well and makes changes to the plan based on input and problem solving that's been done over the last 3 years. The plan describes the ways in which teachers and administrators work together to set professional growth goals, how observations are conducted, and the practices of feedback, coaching, and reflection that lead to instructional improvement. We know that adults don't learn from experience, rather they learn from reflecting on their experiences, and this is what the effective working relationships between teachers and their peer coaches and administrators allow for with this plan. Recognizing that this is a joint agreement between the school district and the South St. Paul Teachers Association, know that the South St. Paul Teachers Association general membership voted to approve the plan last week. And tonight I stand here on behalf of two excellent leaders who shepherd this plan throughout the summer. You heard from them at the Committee of the Whole meeting earlier tonight, Jen Sexauer, our ATPPS TDE coordinator, and Teresa Starkman, our Assistant Director of Special Services and Learning. And so together we ask for your approval of the 3-year plan.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Finally, tonight we have board members' report, committee updates, and if you've seen a passion. We'll start with Patty on the end.
Nothing for me tonight.
Chris?
Just my continued thanks, and I'll add congratulations to the teachers and really all the staff in the schools. And I'll throw in the parents and the students too. That what I've seen over the past few weeks has been a lot of happy pictures and a lot of joy with the schools getting back into the session that they're in now. Although I know that there is a lot of anxiety too, I'm sure, with those that are preparing the distance learning and the hybrid learning plans and executing them. So I just wanted to thank everyone for what they've done. All four of the principals that spoke tonight talked about pride and how they were proud of their staff, and Mr. Ochaki even challenged us to be proud of them as well, and I just want to express that that's definitely the case with me. I'm proud of the accomplishments of the district And I just want to make sure everyone knows that.
Thank you, Chris. Linda?
I just had a report on a committee. The Community Education Tri-District meeting is in a couple of weeks, so nothing to report on that, and then nothing else for me tonight.
Thank you. Wendy?
I have a list
Yeah,
tonight.
you always do.
Trying to get back to the normal as best that we can. I too want to say thank you and welcome back to all of our staff and students. As I had said earlier, I can't imagine what you've gone through in these last several months. The staff preparing for everything that's going on in families, everything that they've had to do too. So a super, super thank you for being safe and being back into our classrooms. And also with everything that's happening in the world right now, I just want to say congratulations to, which would have been our Gold Award breakfast last Friday for students in the secondary building. I just want to congratulate those students that did receive their pins, their awards, their letters. It is one of the things that as a board we look forward to going to each year, the spring honors, spring and fall actually honors breakfasts. So I want to thank all those students and congratulate their families for their support for their kids. And earlier, when during the committee of the whole, Mr. Holson, our theater director, was here, and he does have a couple things in the works now. So if you're a fan of our theater program, which I certainly am, there's a couple things coming up right now. Next week at Central Square in the amphitheater, however, it is limited seating. There is going to be a presentation done by our theater department students. There will be more information next week on the website for ticket information. As you know, we have to social distance, and the families of those students that are in their production, of course, get first choice for tickets. But there will be some tickets available for the community. If you are interested, you can go on the theater website next week and you can purchase admission tickets. And also, you can purchase online tickets from the theater department for their community summer theater production that they did this summer. They did a Carol Burnett show presentation, and you can go online and purchase tickets and watch that production, which is available through October 11th to watch. So that should be a lot of fun. I plan on doing that this weekend, watching the theater department do that. And also, as the fall sports sessions, some are already getting towards the end of their season, and some of the fall sports, as we know, are just starting their season. Just as a reminder to all of our Packer fans out there that our football team is starting their practice, and they will be having their first home game at Ettinger Field Friday, October 9th at 7 o'clock. Be our first home game against Holy Angels. October 23rd, which will be our homecoming game. And then Friday, November 11th, which will be senior night for our football team. So keep those dates in mind. I'm sure there will be more information forthcoming regarding the amount of tickets available for those events. So we look forward to supporting our fall sports. And we congratulate everybody for being back with us. Thank their families for their support and everything that's going on. So we look forward to all those activities. So thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Bill?
I just want to thank all the school board members. In my 2 years here, everybody has had a lot of diversions, and we've gone through some historic times, and I want to thank each and every one of you for standing up and going forward, because we're doing a great job, and let's continue it, okay?
Thank you, Bill. Nikki?
Thank you.
Nothing at this time.
All right, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
We are adjourned.